To Brazil now, where presidential candidates have faced off in their final televised debate ahead of Sunday's election runoff. Right-wing leader Jair Bolsonaro and his leftist challenger Luiz Inacio Lula da Silva repeatedly called each other liars in another fiery TV appearance. Lula has promised to strengthen environmental protections, give more rights to Indigenous people and raise taxes on the rich. He previously served as president and had a corruption conviction overturned. Critics say Bolsonaro, meantime, has marginalised Indigenous tribes and let businesses overexploit the Amazon rainforest. Opponents also condemn his handling of the pandemic. Let's get more now from Johan Ramirez, who's following this election for us in Rio de Janeiro. Johan, hi there. Tell us more about this final debate. Do you think there was a clear winner?
I don't think there was a clear winner in this presidential debate, but I'm sure there was a clear loser, and it's the Brazilian people. I mean, there was a debate full of accusations and personal attacks among the candidates, and there was little room for to discuss the main problems of the country. So many accusations, many of them unfounded, without presenting proofs. And they spend many time accusing each other of saying lies, of not telling the truth. So at the end of the day, I think the Brazilians go to debate tonight very late, because the debate ended up around midnight local time, but also without really knowing what the candidates are presenting, are offering to the country. So, but after all, this is a very polarized country, and I'm not sure how much this can influence the opinion of citizens just one day ahead the second race.
Certainly a divided political scene. Johan, tell us firstly, what would a Lula victory mean for Brazil and a Bolsonaro one?
A victory for Lula da Silva would be first and foremost a vindication for him and his political party. Let's remember that he was convicted for a corruption case. He spent a couple of years in prison. So becoming president now would be a spectacular coming back for him, but also a major victory for the left here in the country and in Latin America. Let's remember that many countries in the recent months and years in Latin America have turned to the left. So Brazil turning to the left, it would be very important. This is the largest democracy of the region. On the other hand, a potential victory of Jair Bolsonaro would be the consolidation of the far right in the country and a confirmation for his controversial way of doing politics. So this is a very important election, not just in Brazil, Lula or Bolsonaro. This is very important also for Latin America, because as I said, this is the largest democracy of the continent and also the main economy of the region. So what happens in Brazil has an impact in the whole continent.
Going to be really interesting to see what happens on Sunday. DW correspondent Johan Ramirez in Rio de Janeiro. Thanks so much. Well, environmentalists say the outcome of Brazil's presidential election could decide the fate of the world's largest rainforest. Destruction of the Amazon has soared under incumbent Jair Bolsonaro, who has rolled back environmental protections and promoted deforestation. More fires are raging in the rainforest right now than in over a decade, as farmers clear land for cultivation. And often those fires can burn out of control.
Armed with only a bucket, Milena Ruculiano is trying to save her home as the flames draw nearer. But her house is completely surrounded.
The fires have been getting closer for days. The wind is especially scary.
Milena and her husband Wellington say they know who's responsible for this fire in Brazil's Amazonas state.
It's the farmers who deliberately burned the jungle off. Now the fire has reached us.
Deforestation of the Amazon rainforest in Brazil has increased by nearly 50% since last year. That's the highest rate of destruction in 15 years, according to the environmental NGO Amazon. In the neighboring state, the indigenous Carapuna people are witnessing the devastation firsthand. Their land is under state protection, but every day, loggers encroach on their land and chop down the most valuable trees.
The loggers are doing this so that later they can sell the logs legally. They'll be back soon to pick up this log.
Tribal leader Andre Carapuna is worried. In recent years, these criminals have become increasingly ruthless in indigenous territories.
Here, they took away the best logs and then set everything else on fire so they couldn't farm cattle here.
The Carapuna people live far away from the big cities and receive almost no support from the Bolsonaro government.
We're fighting for our rights to our land, even in court. However, if Congress continues with its plans and weakens the protected status of all indigenous territories, we'll lose our land for good.
Brazil's agricultural lobbyists have been trying to get such a law passed for months, without success so far. Back at Milena and Wellington's house, the fires are growing more threatening as the winds pick up.
At first, only the dry grass was burning. Now, a few minutes later, and everything is on fire.
It will be weeks until it rains and the fires in the region retreat again.